Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Legalzoom. Get your dream business up and running or take control of your family's future with Legalzoom. For special savings, visit LegalZoom.com and enter AAA at checkout. Hello and welcome to All About Android. This is episode 350. Nice round number. Recorded on Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018. I got to get used to that. We're your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Florence Ion. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year indeed.
Happy New Year and happy 350th episode.
I know. It kind of worked out kind of perfectly like that.
350 of these, Jason.
Oh, man. I don't know why it only just hit me when you said 350 again. Like, I've been looking at this all day. But yeah, that's a lot of Android.
And then in a month and a half, we'll have finally enough episodes for all of you out there, diehard All About Android fans, to watch an episode every single day, every year for the rest of your life.
Yeah, probably.
And that's really been the goal since day one.
Yeah,
that was the plan.
We
We really
leave
wanted
you
to
with enough. Enough.
Final.
episodes.
If so, what happens then? We're done.
No.
No. Then we need two. I can't do the math. 720 episodes. Have two a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to keep. That's pretty. We've been on for
task.
a lot longer than some seasons of critically acclaimed network television.
Yeah, like Punky Brewster, for example. Just pulling that out of thin air. I have to imagine that we're not 365
actually,
episodes
Jason,
of Punky Brewster.
Little known fact, Punky Brewster went on for a whopping 475 episodes.
No.
What?
Little House in the Prairie? What are some other shows that we definitely have more episodes of?
MASH. No. MASH beats us.
You think?
Right?
All right, so according to the longest running TV show is The Simpsons, of 29 seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
All right, Matt Groening, you get that one.
But then guess the two shows that are tied for second.
Family Guy? I don't know.
Nope.
No.
Gunsmoke, 20 seasons.
Okay.
And Law and Order.
Oh.
Dun, dun.
Bum, bum. Nice.
Yeah, how about that? Very interesting.
MASH, by the way, 251 episodes.
That's it? Oh my gosh, there's more.
We've already
I think
passed
there's more
MASH.
No.
MASH doesn't even. So just so you know, if we were a network television show, we would be. Oh, this is fantastic. We would be I'm sorry here. Oh wait, they're not by episode. They're by seasons. Wait a minute. Let me sort by episode. I love Wikipedia.
Yeah.
All right. We would be the dun. We would be the 1, 2, 3, 4. Great TV. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We would be the 14th longest running TV show in history, just behind Dallas and above Knots Landing.
Wow.
Dang.
Wow. We are up there with
good.
some great shows.
I know we're good company.
Oh man, I feel great about that.
Captain Jay in chat was wondering if we passed Alf, and we did. Alf only had 102 episodes, as far as I can tell.
Flo, I'll have you know, we passed Beverly Hills 90210, which clocked in with 293 episodes.
That's important.
Eat your heart out, Jason Priestley.
That's important. Good. Well, now that we've given ourselves plenty of pats on the back.
Yeah, hey, beginning of the year, everyone has to start out real positive.
No, when you get to 350 episodes, you can celebrate like we do.
Yeah.
There we go. Big announcement. I mean,
big announcement.
Groundbreaking announcement right now is to let you know that if you like the Oreo tasting part of the show that we've started, which many of you do, but I also know that many of you do not, it's still here. It's just not going to be in the middle of the show anymore. So you'll have to wait until the post-roll credits to find that. That way, if you don't like it, you can just stop at the end of the show and you won't miss anything. But if you do, bonus content for you. So look for it at the end, and we will continue eating the Oreos so you don't have to. We got some news to talk about this week. We're going to be discussing this whole idea of throttling device performance based on battery health. You may have heard that story involving Apple. Android Auto perhaps going wireless finally. ZTE Axon M first look. In fact, I think you have it in the studio, right?
I do.
Yes. We're going to unfold that device and take a look at it. Pixel C is saying a long goodbye to everyone. HQ Trivia, if you'd ever heard of that game that's been taking the world by storm on iOS devices, well, now it's on Android, and a whole lot more. Before we get to all that, or maybe the kind of the amuse-bouche for all of that, is this the news bumper, thanks to Victor.
It may be 2018, but there's no slowing down. Android news.
Never. The news never slows down.
I was actually thinking about that. Do we have anything to talk about on the show this week?
It's not the easiest thing in the world, right? This is always kind of a hard episode to fill news-wise.
Day after the New Year.
Yeah.
It's not only day after the New Year's, before CES. Like, it's this weird no man's land of nothing.
Well, and usually at this time of the year, right after the New Year,
I'm at
everybody's
CES.
already at pre-CES
Yeah.
stuff. So we already kind of
Yeah.
know a little bit of something. CES doesn't start until next week. Why are they
I was
doing it
actually
later?
I was astonished by that. I emailed our mutual friend Tom Merritt today, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm sorry to write you during CES," and like he wrote me back immediately, and I was like, "Wait a minute!" And I looked, and I was like, "Oh, CES is next week."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm leaving Saturday, and I'm there until Saturday.
You got to be
So-
happy to have like a week of decompression, easing
Absolutely,
back
and I
into work
think that
before
it
CES
means
week.
the year's. That's why this year's going to be great. I didn't have to go immediately to CES. I got to sleep a lot. It was great.
Yeah,
Great. It's excellent.
sleep's pretty good, I have to say. Let's see here. Top story, if there is one.
It was a top story.
It was.
It was
over
in the
past
social
week.
network. It was.
You may have heard that Apple went on the defensive over the break when it was forced to admit that they would slow down older iPhones with low capacity batteries to prevent device issues. Namely, I guess it was pointing to the possibility of a device restart if they let things run at full power,
Full blast.
when the batteries have been worn down over time. Users have been pretty upset that Apple wasn't very forthcoming on this engineering decision. I think they've since said that they're going to offer replacement batteries.
Engineering decision.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
I don't know. Is that an engineering? I mean, I understand where they're coming from, right? Like if a low battery performance is going to hurt the experience on the phone, maybe throttling from a device standpoint is better in some ways. I know if you don't tell people that that's happening, they're probably not going to like it a whole lot. But it might lengthen out the use of your phone.
But there's no way to positively spin that. Like, I'm not surprised they do it, because we've been speculating. I mean, I feel like speculation around that has been going on for years. I mean, the jokes about Apple's planned obsolescence and that sort of thing. But even if they were forthcoming about it, there's no way to say that in a positive light.
Yeah. So of course, this all happens to Apple, which then has everyone going, "Who else is doing this?"
Yeah.
And so far at this point, HTC, Motorola, Samsung, LG, all on the record saying that they don't regulate the devices in this way.
What I love about this is that, and this is what you, the listeners, don't know about, on our little document of our stories and our notes and stuff like that, it's literally like HTC and Motorola say they don't slow old phones. Samsung and LG also confirm they don't. Like, everyone's just racing to be able to say, we don't do that, and it's like
Apple does something that we don't do. Yay.
Exactly.
Hey, my husband yesterday even said, I think it's time I need to get a new phone. He's still on the 6P. And he said, do you think they're doing the same thing to me that Apple did to the iPhone? He's like, is this Google or is this Huawei?
Well, I mean, that's a question that I had, right? Is that I'd be very hard pressed to find even a premium flagship device, Android device, that has been amazing, when you first get it, that doesn't just deteriorate over time,
Even
right? Like they kind of all do that.
Started to get really forced closey, and I don't reset. I don't factory reset within, I try to go as long as I possibly can without it, kind of as my own little market research, just kind of know, because a lot of people don't want to do that. And even the Pixel, toward the end there, and I could tell it was because I needed a factory reset, but I didn't want to. So
Now,
it's not fair.
And I guess the question always comes back for me on that is, What led to that? Is it just that we've charged our battery a million times? Well, I mean, if it was the case of Apple, this could maybe be said that we've just worn down the battery slowly over time, and then at a certain point, Apple starts to kill performance.
That's obvious when that happens, though. I feel like the battery thing is pretty obvious when it happens, especially on an Apple product, or at least in my own. Because we had an iPhone 4S around the house for a really long time that my husband was using for game development, and he was using it for a really, really, really long time. And when it started to die, like you could tell it was dying just by like how slowly it would charge.
Right. Well, and when you see this on Android devices too, like you know, my Pixel 2 XL is only 3 months old, but now I'm not using it any differently than I was a couple of months ago when I got it. Yet my battery now at the end of the day is magically somewhere in the like single digits where it wasn't before. So that's a known thing with lithium ion. I mean, like you have a limited number of full charges you're going to get from that, and every time you charge it up, it just doesn't quite make it as high as it did previously.
Yeah, it's like a cat with 9 lives.
Sure. I like to say like a chalkboard. You write on the chalkboard, then you erase it, but you never quite actually get it totally clean. And every time you write on it, you like really old chalkboards get all kind of, you know, like that sort of thing. Like there's only so much space that it will take, and that's due to the chemical nature of lithium ion. The biggest problem we have with these phones and with the smartphones and microcomputing now is the battery issue. We need a breakthrough. We need Elon Musk to stop worrying about cars and come fix our devices.
Yeah, stop hating on buses and come fix our devices.
But even Tesla is limited by the power of lithium ion. It's a chemical. It's a physical thing. We need advancement in energy maintenance to solve this. Apple figured out a way to handle it from there. And you can imagine what that meeting was like when they're like, well, when the battery runs down, this is what happens and this is what we can do. Like I can imagine what that meeting was like, and it probably made sense in that room. But when you think about it, when it affects millions of people, it has this sort of reaction because people feel like they're ripped off.
Right. If they weren't notified about it beforehand.
It's like the whole adage where we're all like, washing machines don't last like they used to. They're not made like they used to. They just break down real easily, and they do.
Well, because that's also the thing. Yeah, you're right. All these things are made of things that run out, that wear and tear. You get a set of tires, and after 2 years, you need to replace them.
Well, but that's rubber.
Well, no, but name me one thing that is indestructible and will last the entire lifetime that you bought it. Aside from Ginsu knives.
Ginsu knives are pretty good.
Timbuktu backpacks?
They're not indestructible.
Yeah, they're not indestructible. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
But I do think it's funny that Apple's offer was to replace the battery and give like $22 or something like that. Like,
not only that, they're going to put in some sort of controls or some sort of awareness inside of iOS to demonstrate when this is happening or give people the ability to tweak it, which I think is what you probably want to do in that case. Although from Apple's perspective, giving that kind of control over something that they probably deem very critical, that would be surprising to me. That's more of an Android thing. But
you know what kind of awareness I would like?
What?
I would like some sort of awareness from Android Auto, which leads us into our next segment, that would let me know how much gas I have in the car without me having to go out to the car. Unfortunately, JVC is not announcing that.
Oh.
That's not what's happening. But I just wanted to put my dream out there into the world for somebody to hear.
We've got the right people listening to this show.
Maybe a little thing I could just plink into the gas.
We have friends of the show, by the way.
Well, Android Auto is going to actually get some new hardware announcements at the upcoming CES, or as I like to refer to it as, the dreaded CES, which is how I refer to it as. JVC Kenwood has a few wireless Android Auto receivers it's going to show off at the show. Both are going to have 1280 by 720 HD displays, and Google first showed off this wireless idea at I/O in 2017. I didn't get to see this, unfortunately. I wasn't even aware that that's exactly what was being...
I wasn't either until after the fact.
I think it's a great idea because it's essentially the equivalent of putting like a Garmin-sized thing in your car and just having it more hooked into the car, or whatever.
So I guess you'd have to have a SIM in your car permanently, right? If it's wireless, or maybe they're selling.
Or maybe you can hook up your phone to it through through like another cord, so that way you put this in the dash, and then when you get into the car.
But isn't that what we're already doing? Well, no, I'm not. I don't have Android Auto, but isn't that what you already do? Connect your phone to your Android Auto receiver, and it's not doing any of the data stuff. It's all streaming from your phone. So I'm thinking, like, in this case, it's the whole idea of like it's kind of like putting, having a wireless or a watch that doesn't need to be tethered to your phone anymore. It's like, oh, it has all the data and everything, which is great. It probably requires an extra data fee if that's the case.
So we saw Wi-Fi powered Android Auto technology at I/O, which makes me wonder where this Wi-Fi is coming from. Makes me wonder how this is supposed to work. We'll find out more at CES. I mean, way to tease something without the full story, JVC, Kenwood. Because it's interesting. I want to know more. But apparently we got to tease it first.
It's not CES yet. You'll find out next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. But while we're waiting for CES, if you want to get freaked out a little, you can find out that Google recently published a research paper showing that its text-to-speech system called Tacotron 2, which is a great name, by the way, is practically indistinguishable from a human.
Love
so
this.
just sit on that and think about that.
You love this, really?
Yes. I love how they do this. I've read a few things on how they detail the process and put this all together.
Well, listen to these notes. So part of continuing the development of its text-to-speech technology using WaveNet and part of the DeepMind artificial intelligence efforts, some samples were included that compare a real person speaking a phrase and Google's text-to-speech system, and it was basically impossible to tell the difference. And WaveNet made its way into Assistant, so Tacotron 2 will likely be added sometime as well.
Yeah.
So your phone and Google Assistant is taking one step closer to being indistinguishable from a human, which is crazy.
Tacotron. Yeah. I love that name.
Tacotron 2, not Tacotron 1.
No.
Tacotron 2, Electric
Tacotron
Boogaloo.
1 is so dated.
Okay,
old.
we appreciate how California this name is? Good job.
It is. I could go for a Tacotron right about now. Tacotron truck. Yeah, so play these two back to back and we'll see if we can tell. Let's see here. Here we go.
That definitely sounds like human.
George Washington was the first president of the United States.
Okay. I would say robot.
George Washington was the first president of the United States.
They're pretty close. I mean, I couldn't say definitively. I would almost side with the first one being a robot.
Let's do it again. Can I hear it again?
George Washington was the first president of the United States.
Okay.
George Washington was the first president of the United States.
The second one is the computer.
Yeah.
See, I think the first one's okay.
Yeah,
well,
I thought the first one was the computer because the second one doesn't have as much of the at the end. But maybe you want the because that makes it sound like tongue.
Let's hear the second statement.
That girl did a video about Star Wars lipstick. That girl did a video about Star Wars lipstick.
Oh man, I don't even know.
It was the second
one. Second one.
Second one is what? Second one is what?
Is the computer.
Is the computer? God, I couldn't even tell between those two.
That girl did a video about Star Wars lipstick. That girl did a video about Star Wars lipstick.
Oh, man.
See, I don't know.
The first one sounds a lot like Google Home. The second one sounds a little more fluid and natural. But I really feel like we need more intonation.
Yeah.
It depends on the emphasis. It depends on what word that they're putting the emphasis on. Does that article say which one is? Do we know the answer or no?
No, we don't know the answer. I think if you view the source, you can find it out. But so it's kind of a bummer they didn't put that in there. But they did point out that if you scroll down to the last example, what you're talking about, emphasis, is in there. So it's got a phrase down at the I think it's the last two, and the first one has no emphasis. So you play that.
The buses aren't the problem. They actually provide a solution.
And then if you look at the second one, there's capitalized problem and capitalized solution to inform the AI that those are to be emphasized. That's what you hear in this one.
The buses aren't the problem. They actually provide a solution.
Whoa.
Buses aren't a problem. They actually provide a solution. So anyways, all I know is this stuff is getting crazy good, and I love it.
I'm going to see like fully functional robot people in my lifetime. Like
yeah.
I am.
Oh, for sure.
You are.
It's just creeping me out, y'all.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's kind of awesome and scary.
Yeah, exactly.
At the same time, though, so we've got this. It's in Assistant. Assistant always sounds great when you're talking to it on a Google Home or on your phone or whatever. It always has that wonderful voice. But then you go into like Maps, and then you do something, and it's like your next. It's like a different voice. It's way more robotic sometimes. It's like why are they different? Why can't they all tap into the same text-to-speech engine?
Well, I'm sure they have to also like take into consideration compressing that voice
or maybe
to put on a mobile device to be able to be with. Like I'm just imagining. How much power goes into this machine sounding like a real human.
Well, but I think that they might be two completely different engines because one sounds really nice and polished like this, and then the other one sounds like the old school, like 2 or 3 years ago Android text-to-speech, where it was good for the time, but now it just sounds so robotic and synthesized.
Well, yeah, and a part of it is that how they're piecing together those words, right? Because do they have someone recording every word, and then it's just the jigsaw puzzle putting a sentence together, and that's when you know it's a robot because it doesn't sound natural, right? But the ability to change that intonation and change that emphasis, and to stress on words and things like that, because that's part of the thing that gives away the human side. I mean, like for example, right now it's negative 1,000,000 degrees and I have a cold and I sound different than I normally sound, and those little imperfections because I'm stuffed up or whatever are what makes human voice sound natural, right? And even when you're completely healthy and clear and talk fine, our accents are the way we leverage words and things like that. That's always for me been the giveaway to when it's a robot or a person. But now it's just the lines are getting blurred, and it's if they're able to accommodate for different reflection or inflection in voice, then it's crazy. We're so close.
Well, if they're able to start programming accents, so they would. I'm imagining like taking all that voice data of people in Long Island with the Google thing in their house, like, and taking all that and then using that to create like the accent, so that the machine has this natural sounding accent.
For the regional,
just an amalgamation of all the data collected from that. No, I'm serious.
I
from
could totally see
regionally,
that way.
You're gonna grab it that way anyway, being in that area.
Yeah.
So the idea is to make the robot to be able to do that same. It's so fascinating, and I need to get a linguist on here.
Yeah, I know that would actually be a really good interview.
I would love. I didn't make the joke. I would love to tell Google Home that I'm in New York and get a Google Home voice with a New York accent.
I'm walking here.
Yeah, like that'd be fantastic. And the thing is that we have ways doing celebrity voices and things like that. But they've pre-recorded all the stuff and put it together. We'll get there. We'll get to the point where you'll be indistinguishable if it's a robot or a human, and you will have regional and local accents, and it's going to be crazy. And then they're going to be robots, and we're going to be just like WALL-E, just bodies in a jar, and we never get up.
Yeah, well, that's the future.
We
already are. It's true. Although I think the next generation of these is probably when your voice assistant can come down with a cold, Ron. And then you try to talk to it, and it's like, I'm really sorry if you can't understand my voice, but I've got a cold. Anyways, when it calls in sick. Yeah. I'm not here right now. Please leave me a message. We got an email from Trey, I'm thinking it's probably Trey, who says, is there a way to turn off all notifications at once on the Pixel XL2, or do I have to go through hundreds of apps individually and deselect each one? My Pixel XL1 was set up perfectly, but when I transferred my apps over the USB-C cable, the apps must have regained their permissions back. That's a problem that I had not considered.
Me either.
When you get into all of these ways that you can customize your phone, the permissions are a big part of that customization. That doesn't seem to travel over. Trey says, I currently see no option to turn off all notifications in the notification settings. I thought this was a feature once. Did Google remove it? I just want to turn off notifications for about 120 apps and turn it back on only for about 5 of them. If you can help, it would be awesome. And I mean, I went diving through to see if there was a turn off all notifications on all apps in the settings, and there is none. You have to do it on a per app basis. Do not disturb mode is one way to kind of change the mode of your device, and you can set that up and customize that as far as what happens when you're in that mode, but you have to remember to set that mode on, which means it can come off, so it's not permanently on. If you turn it off, you might not realize it, and that changes the way your phone is
I will
working.
say, though, creating a profile, a D&D profile, that will get transferred from phone to phone.
Oh,
so
does it?
I've had a D&D profile since the 6P that I programmed in the deep settings long ago, and that transferred over from my Pixel XL to the Pixel 2, no problem.
Oh, interesting.
So if you
So
do
some of that
that,
stuff transfers
because
over.
the problem is, of course, then you get back to your phone and you have all those notifications, and so that is still an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I have to say I feel like since Android O, notifications have gotten a little out of control for me. I feel like they've gotten a little bit more noisy.
And which is funny because notification channels was
I know.
like an effort to reduce that noise.
Nope.
I mean, the thing, my experience with it has been, it's all about diligence. It's all about mentally being prepared for when you see a notification, being able to act on that notification immediately. And if that's an app you don't want notifications for, go in and turn it off. Like, you have to do it at the time of the notification receipt.
Yeah.
You know? Once you go through a week of phone use, then you have your notifications pared down to the apps that you want. Let's see what I've done. So
yeah, let's. Oh, dang it! I just swiped it away, so I can't show you. I have no notifications in my notification shade to show you
because you got used to that.
But what you can do, and this was kind of what I was thinking too, Ron, is instead of doing it all in one sit down, a notification comes in that you don't want to receive anymore. If you go to the notification and you just pull it slightly, instead of swiping it away, you get a little settings button. When you tap that settings button, it expands to say notifications with a little toggle. Then you just toggle it off, and that one won't bother you anymore. So you don't have to go into your settings to do it. You do it directly from your notification shade. And if you kind of do that over the next couple of days randomly as notifications come in, you're not going to get every single one of them, but you're going to do them all, and it won't feel like a chore, like you're sitting down to just do this, long, undying task.
It is a chore.
It is.
Having being an Android user it requires maintenance of the soul, the spirit, and the interface.
It's just too bad that some of those changes that you do don't transfer over when you get your phone, because you do all this customization, then you have to reset it up again.
I mean, yeah, we gotta keep talking about that. I feel like we need to be louder about that because it's a huge annoyance for people.
It is, but it's way better now than it used to be.
Oh,
so they've made some changes that have worked. JJ in the chat also points out that you can long press that in Nougat to get to the notification settings as well. So there you go. Hopefully that helps in your pursuit. Let's take a minute to thank the sponsor of this episode of All About Android. This episode is brought to you by LegalZoom. It's a new year. It's a perfect time to kind of take a look at all this stuff. What will your story be in 2018? Now that you can feel comfortable in the fact that the holiday rush is over, LegalZoom can help you make this a memorable year before all the distractions begin to take hold, and that's going to start immediately, so you want to take care of this now. Make this the year that you finally get serious about launching and running your business, for example. You can rest a little easier knowing your family's future is squared away with the right estate plan. Take care of all these things that have been on your mind. You've been putting it off. The new year makes it even more of a reason to just do it now. LegalZoom has been helping people like you take care of their dreams and their responsibilities for more than 16 years. LegalZoom is not a law firm, but they have the resources to keep you on the right path, including advice from their network of independent attorneys, all at your fingertips. You have access through LegalZoom. Whether you want to take your business to the next level or take control of your family's future with an estate plan or so many other things, LegalZoom plugs right into your life so you can take care of the things that matter most to you. And now's the perfect time to take a look at that. Get off to a strong start in 2018 at LegalZoom.com today and get special savings when you enter AAA at checkout. Don't forget to enter AAA for special savings at LegalZoom.com during checkout. LegalZoom, where life meets legal. We thank LegalZoom for their support of All About Android and the Twit Network. All right, it's that time in the show where we take a look at things that actually exist in the real world that we can hold and that we can use. It's called hardware. We can use them, but will we want to use them, Flo, when they're so different and strange, as is the case with the ZTE Axon M?
When you're ZTE Axon M and you're strange. This is the ZTE Axon M. This is the the famous foldable phone that you may have seen advertised on the side of the court during the Golden State Warriors games you may have been watching on TV.
Wow, they're pushing it
ZTE,
during basketball
ZTE
games?
is actually a big sponsor of the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, okay.
And I was like watching the game in a bar the other day, and I was just like, oh, there's an Axon M on the side of the stadium there being advertised. That's right. I remember about that.
That's very interesting.
Also, this is an exclusive to AT&T, so even, I don't know if you were considering on buying it, but if you were, you better be at AT&T, otherwise there's no point. Also, another thing to factor in here is that a big selling point of the Axon M, because it has two 5.2-inch displays, it is being touted as a great phone for media, for DirecTV in particular, because AT&T has the whole partnership with DirecTV. So what you see right now is a phone that is splayed out with only one screen on. But when you hit this little M button, which stands for Axon M, you can give it two different screens. It's what's supposed to do right now, please. Come on. There you go. So this has a Snapdragon 821 in it, and if it looks like it was a little slow to you, for those of you watching the video, that's because, this
it is.
That's a lot of screen, and it's not like one tablet. It's not like a 7.5-inch tablet, which is what this is essentially supposed to be.
Right. Right.
It's a phone with two screens. So there's two individual instances going on at the same time, effectively, which is just really.
So it's like two phones. Do they not interact? Can you not drag a icon from one side?
Yes. You can drag with three fingers. You can do all this stuff with it. There you go, with the three fingers.
So that's mirror mode.
So this is the mirror mode. If you want to share a movie with somebody, or share a website, or listen on Google Assistant. Cool. So you can do that on the airplane for I feel like this is a good kid phone, this concept, because this is a phone that you would get for dueling siblings on an airplane, because then they can just use the AB mode. And if you swipe, you can move apps to apps. So let's see. Let's do this. I never know where to start. Let's pretend we're going shopping. And
who needs the app drawer when you've got a dedicated app drawer screen?
Yes. So then all you do is you do this three-finger swipe.
It just worked.
Come on. All right.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh wait, no, it did work. Did you see it brought the home screen to the other?
I don't know if it did. Did it?
Wait,
this is crazy. I love it.
Wait, look.
Okay, if you swipe with your thumb and your ring finger, look at that.
Oh,
that's like in OS X when you move the status bar. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Or we can do the big giant mode, which uses the whole screen. So I was using this to track Santa.
That's the mode most people are going to do, right?
Okay.
Right?
Let's say that, right?
If anyone's going to get
So Flo took the Axon M on Bart. And by the way, I went hands-on with this. So if you need more information, like specs or whatever, you can go to PCWorld.com. I went hands-on with this in September, I believe,
that's right.
when this phone was originally announced. So I've been playing Pocket Camp. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, right? So, doesn't work with the dual screen ability. So guess what? I can only have it on one side. So then you think, that's good, Flo, because that means that you check on your animals on one screen, and then, you'll go to Twitter in the other screen. So I'm going to show you all how this works in real time. We're not buying an order track. I cannot believe Amazon is suggesting that on the second day of 2018. Thanks, Amazon. Okay.
No shame, Amazon.
Right? Okay, let's pretend I need to find directions somewhere. Okay, so we're going to pretend I'm going to get walking directions to my next destination, right?
Okay,
While I'm on the train. So blah, blah, blah. It's just happening over here. Okay, we're playing Animal Crossing. We're doing, hey, you know what I was thinking is that maybe I would get walking directions,
Meanwhile, Animal Crossing's still loading.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Animal Crossing has had a lot of server issues over the holiday. So,
well, and it's a Snapdragon 821, so it's not the most.
Let's walk to
modern.
Lagunitas. You got to walk. You don't want to drink and drive.
Yep. Of course, they're not open on Tuesday, but anyways.
It's okay. For this, it is.
Okay.
All right, let's pretend we're doing directions. Okay,
I just wish they were.
Let's start some directions. I'm navigating, but now I'm going to... So as you can see... The screen that you have on is the one that is doing all of the processing. So I'm very curious.
Oh.
I'm very curious what's going to happen over here.
That's why it was so slow on the Animal Crossing
That's why it's so slow.
side.
So it was, oh, this guy needs me for something. Do not play Animal Crossing on TV Flow.
Yeah. So when you tap over to the maps, does Animal Crossing kind of freeze?
Yes.
Oh.
Jeez.
And it's a bummer because, look, I can't even, do the big... It's extended mode not available, app not optimized.
I understand why they would do this. I mean, it's not ideal. I understand from a processor and from the system underneath. Like Android, I'm just not thinking in this way. Driving both of those full res screens meant to drive two full apps. I mean, it has split screen capability on Android, but is this on Nougat or is it on Oreo?
This is on
probably Nougat.
7.1.2. So
then on Nougat you can do
what is safe to watch on here. Okay, we can probably put. I'm trying to show. Let's see if this works so that I can get it.
So we got Ice Age playing on one side.
There we go. So now we got Ice Age playing.
Oh, look at that line.
So that's nice. Thank you, Google, for the Ice Age movie, by the way.
Honestly, that's not horrible.
This is not that bad.
It's not that bad. That's manageable. If I was on a plane, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, when I played around, my only point of comparison with this phone is the Sony Tablet P, and it had the bezel, at the fold between the two displays. And if you tried to do this, the two displays were so far apart with that bezel in the middle that it was really distracting. This is a lot better.
This is not that bad. But it's not that bad. And see, now we've got our own personal Ice Age viewing screens.
Oh, okay.
That's good for kids. By the way, it happened very quickly. We didn't get to see it, but when you had the video spanning both screens and you pulled down the notification shade and it was a 2-screen with notification shade, that might be my favorite thing about the phone.
If you're doing this giant notification shade.
Yeah, move the phone down a bit. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, see how
this
long
giant
that
notification
shade. Like the brightness slider.
When you want the finest control of your brightness.
Listen, I need the most amount of screen real estate for my brightness slider.
Wow, this is interesting. This is go back to full screen on the video, please.
Okay.
If you can. And then pull up the controls for the video. So notice the one that's split down the middle.
It's the pause button.
Which side do you want to control that on?
No, you can control it on both sides, by the way. Fun fact.
All right.
That's hysterical.
Okay. I think it's...
What is closed captioning?
This really
Hold
is
on.
what I
What
expected it to be, which
like?
is just an interesting...
The whole room.
It's an interesting experiment.
How does the closed captioning know that it's on two screens? I love the fact that this exists in the world.
Yeah.
I do too.
Someone actually came up with this idea and it made it through the entire product development process to the point where it's in Flo's hands right now. And that's why I love the world we live in.
Yeah. It's unique. And we have heard repeatedly for years now, although it seems to be becoming more and more, immediate or possibly happen this year. But now I think we're hearing it might happen next year. That Samsung has a foldable display phone concept that they're planning on pushing. So this almost strikes me as we can do that and we can do it now.
But look,
it's not the best way, but they can be on record as saying we have a device that did that or we were there before
and
Samsung
it does.
was. Or
We've got a whole video playing on one end, so I'm watching Ice Age with captions. And
that's really cool that you could watch something and be doing something on the other screen. That's pretty neat.
Okay.
It's pretty neat. But then, this part feels very stable, which is great. I'm the hardware feels stable, but it also feels a little like I will. Yes. How about you show off the buttons?
I'm just
actually,
curious. It's got a little junk in the trunk, I gotta say. It's a
It
little
does.
thick. It's a thick
It
phone.
does. It's a thick phone, and it's kind of clunky to carry around. And the button, so if you kind of touch the button, the exterior power button on the side there, just kind of feel it. You feel like it moves around a little bit. It's not very stable, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the fingerprint scanner.
Oh, okay.
It works, but it's not as lightning quick is what I meant to say. It's not as lightning quick as, say, the experience maybe Ron had with the Next Bit Robin, which also had that kind of side embedded fingerprint scanner. But I like that there were considerations for these things. This phone, I believe, also has the Dolby backing, so that the music sounds really good, so that music and movies sound good if you're using it to watch something. So, it's...
Oh,
yeah.
look at that
and
app
there's
drawer.
your full app
Yeah.
drawer. There's your full app drawer.
Listen,
it
when
is.
you have so many apps, you need 2 screens.
Yeah.
That you're living life correctly, man. I like that.
There's a little bit of bloatware on there too, which I'm a little annoyed.
Well, listen, you got room for bloatware with 2 screens.
Yeah, who cares? Blow it away.
Pack it on.
They did send me a SIM, but I just didn't, with the holidays and everything.
Yeah.
For some reason, I couldn't put it in there for some reason. So I didn't get to test telephone calls or anything. But I do want to say that this is a very dense phone.
Yeah, it is.
And I can just imagine speaking for an hour and a half to my best friend on a weekend, my arm would get very sweaty and tired from this position. But at least you can more easily do this, but then it slips out because it's all glass.
It's all glass, front and back. And not only is it glass on the back, it's a glass display on the back. So no matter how you drop this, you're probably...
it's already a little...
you're probably in for a world of hurt. So I should probably not have this phone.
This was under... Actually, this is on carpet most of the while. It's actually doing pretty okay. But...
Interesting.
And there's a little quick launch button on the bottom. So if you like to watch TV, you can program it. So I programmed it to YouTube TV so that I could just open it and go, YouTube TV.
Nice.
Okay. I have to say also...
It's a curiosity.
It is. But just one other thing. This is the second review unit that they had to send me.
What happened
because
to
the
the
first one had the different screen hues on either side. So one side was yellow and one side was white hued.
Yeah,
and
I
that was
know
the same problem that Android Authority's review unit had, which I saw when I went to their co-working space. So yeah, it was kind of a bummer that it happened to me too.
Yeah.
Which makes me kind of a bummer.
Be very curious to know how many of those
But if you're
they sell.
curious,
But
probably
anyways.
at the AT&T store. You can go check it out.
Yeah.
It's
Check it out.
a good idea. I want to see it iterated on. I want to see it iterated for a kid audience. I think it'd be great for a kid audience.
Interesting.
How do you make Android better? Add another screen.
I mean,
2 screen Palooza. 2 screen Flow. That's what we used to call her.
Remember when Samsung first... I like that. When Samsung first came out with the really large display, we poo-pooed it.
Which one?
On this show, the Note series.
Yeah, the Note. Yeah, we made fun of the Note.
At
I remember
some
the
when
Galaxy
it
Mega.
became mainstream.
I remember when phones had 1 screen and we had to scroll through our apps. But no, you kids with your 2 screen phones, you could see all your apps at once.
Double your expectations.
I love how in the marketing they just show the doubles, like they have to tout it, but like it's like, hey, look at this big gap between the two screens. Who cares? It's like I love it.
Yeah.
I really like this.
There is a
great.
case for it, by the way.
Oh, really?
There is a case, which I am going to drop in really quick.
Oh, into the
for
chat.
you,
So it's in the doc chat.
Victor, in the doc chat. There is a case for it. There's one
I'm
case,
putting it in
and
the
it's
doc
black.
too, just in case you're there.
And it was made specifically for the folding mechanism.
I was gonna say if you're an accessories maker, it's a risk whether you want to get into the ZTE Axon
you're
M
taking a
business.
risk on that one.
$34.99
look at
for a
that.
little bit of extra. And look, it folds out and everything.
Wow. Wow.
Oh,
I
wow.
think that's
So
all I
it's
have
like
to
it's
say
like
about the Axon.
It's like a bracket case kind of thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
That's too funny.
I mean, but that gives you a little bit of raise around the display itself so that the glass isn't the first thing that touches any surface you ever set your phone down on. That's kind of what that provides.
This is definitely business phone. This is like all business, but I want to see it be more for the kiddos.
Yeah.
I want to see a little different market come out of this.
Very
interesting position. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Ron, tell us about an old favorite.
Well, so if you remember a couple of months ago when I was shopping for a new tablet, I was mulling getting the Pixel C because it's Google and it's Pixel and that'd be great. But something told me not to, and I got the Asus ZenPad instead. Turns out I was a little prescient there with that decision because, and Victor, I don't know if we have the if we have the music queued up or not, or if we even have the funeral music. But Google is retiring the Pixel C. 2 years after it was released for $500 in late 2015. It's still dedicated to updating and supporting the tablet, just no longer selling it. So you can't get it anymore. If you have one, you'll still get it supported. Now Google's just dedicated to getting consumers onto the Pixelbook bandwagon or brandwagon, depending on how you want to pronounce it. But so, are we surprised that the Pixel C is put to an early death?
It's a lot earlier than. Is it earlier than the Nexus 9, my friends?
There it is. Let's take a moment for the Pixel C.
Okay.
Yep. This is a long extended.
This is a remix. Yes, I like it.
I like it.
Well, I'm not that surprised. I mean, 2 years.
But the Nexus 9, did it last
Nexus
longer?
9. Yes, no. Nexus 9 lasted longer for sure.
Was for sale longer because they're not saying that they're cutting off support. They're just gonna.
So the Nexus 9 came out on 2014 and it was discontinued. Oh no, yeah. Nexus 9 came out November 3rd, 2014, and it was discontinued on May 26, 2016.
I mean, the Pixel C.
Wow.
I think it's updated.
Happy Google I/O. You can't buy this anymore.
That felt like a much longer time than less than 2 years, by the way, with my Nexus 9. But that's strange. So Pixel C came out December 8th, 2015, and discontinued December 28th, 2017. So nearly exactly 2 years.
Yeah.
So it looks like 2 years is about the life. It lasted longer than the Nexus 9. Wow. You heard it here first.
There we go. Can't get that one anymore. You could probably find it on eBay or whatever if you really want to. And then finally. So I had a dilemma over the holiday of what to get my kids, whether I was going to get the Fire tablet, the Fire HD 8 tablet Kids Edition, which I did. I got a 2-pack during a Black Friday sale.
I bought a 2-pack of tablets for my kids.
And got it all set up for my kids and everything. They made it really, really hard. Well, they basically, with an update, they made it impossible for you to bring the Play Store over to the kids profile. So if you got the kids version of the Fire HD tablet, and with that comes like a 2-year, no questions asked, break warranty, anything can happen to the tablet and they'll replace it within the 2 years. A year's worth of entirely free content across everything. So free books, free movie, all this free stuff. And so it sounded like really good from that perspective. Prior to the latest system update on the Fire tablets, you could still sideload Google Play Services and then Google Play Store and move that over into the kids' profile and any apps that you wanted to from the Play Store, so that they'd still have access to that if you wanted them to. But then they updated the tablet, and they did that a couple of months ago. So if your tablet that you get from Amazon is on that later version, it's basically impossible to get the child's version to do that. And even if you were able to do it prior, the whole process of launching it and everything was so convoluted. It was like the traditional Android hack job. You can do it, but you got to load this app, and this app hasn't been updated since 2012, but it gives you a menu that has the apps that you download for the Play. It was a total hack job. Yes, you could, but would you really want to? So I had to ask myself, I know that I want to get at least our youngest daughter, her tablet, her Nexus 9 broke months ago, so she's been using a 6P. What tablet do I get for her if it's not going to be these Fire tablets that I sent back? And I decided on, and I don't know if it was a good idea or not, but I decided on the Lenovo Tab 4.8, which you can get. I got it for $119.
Wow.
But you can get it for I think it's I got it for $109, and it sells normally for $129. So I got it for $20 off. Also got this kids thing, kind of border for it or whatever. It's running Nougat, and it was released 4 or 5 months ago. So it's relatively new, which it was kind of important to me. And I wanted Nougat on here because then I can install the Google's family link. There we go.
Is that your daughter's wallpaper?
I just set this up earlier. This isn't her wall. Yeah. My 4-year-old loves mountains.
The mountains
Daddy.
So anyway, I picked this up for her. She doesn't know that I got this. This came too late for Christmas.
Oh,
I'm just
this was the present that
this was it.
the
Yeah.
Walmart and the
Yeah, and then I went to Walmart to pick it up, and of course I was in the technology section looking to see if they had one, and someone walks up to me and he's like, "Are you Jason Hell from All About Android?" So I was recognized in Walmart technology electronics section. Anyways, so I got this, and I don't know how it's going to perform. It's got a micro SD card slot, so I can expand that. It's not insane specs
it looks
by any
nice
means.
from my it looks like a nice tablet. I was going to ask you, Jason.
Yeah, it's an 8-inch 1280 by 800 LCD IPS display, 2 gigs of RAM, not very much RAM. It's running a Snapdragon processor, 1.4 gigahertz.
Yeah, at least he's still got Qualcomm chips in there.
Yeah. So I kind of felt like she's 4 years old. Like, really, all she does is watch YouTube Kids, and maybe a handful of games or Netflix or our Play Movies library. So I figured from that perspective, $120.
It's the equivalent of the DVD player back in the early 2000s when you would get DVD players for the kids so they could have something to watch in the back seat. Totally. Now it's you buy them a $100 tablet, you load it up with the parental controls, you load them up only with the content you want them to have, and boom.
Yep.
There you go.
And so, anyway, she's going to play around with this. If I have any stories to tell over time as far as its reliability or potentially
if your
lack
daughter
thereof,
comes to you with, "Daddy, the user interface on this tablet is absolutely atrocious."
Well, with Family Link, and I set it up specifically with Family Link, and so Google, that means that many things just aren't allowed on here at all. Like with Family Link, I can keep almost everything off except for the things that I allow for. So it really kind of trims down the experience. So even though it's taking up a little bit of storage space, she has no access to it whatsoever. It looks pretty kind of close to stock as far as that's concerned. Same with the settings.
But that makes it very easy to use for the kid. It makes it.
She's already knows this interface.
Exactly.
If I had put them both on the Amazon Fire tablets with the kid perspective or the kid OS overlay or whatever, it would have been great for my 4-year-old. My 7-year-old would have been like, "What are you trying to pull here? What are you doing?
Excuse you. Do you know who I am?"
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I'm going to test this out. Lenovo Tab 4.8. If any of you have any insight into this tablet, if you've been using it or whatever, I'm curious to know what y'all think of it. I don't know what to expect, but I will let you know if anything weird with the tablet happens over the next few months and see how she does with it. There we go.
Anything weird. Some random person pops in on video.
Well, yeah. I'm thinking more like it's suddenly gets super unresponsive or whatever.
Yes.
Like I haven't bought a tablet I would consider this a low-end tablet, right? Like $100.
It doesn't even
$120.
look like a low-end tablet in person, by the way.
No,
that screen looks really nice in person.
And it's got a really nice, it's a pretty solid build. It doesn't feel cheap. Like for $120 for $110.
Well, Lenovo's good at the mass market. They got the mass market thing cornered. So I would imagine they'd be able to pull together a pretty nice, cheap tablet.
Yeah, we'll see how updates are. I wonder if it'll get Oreo, but it starts off with Nougat, and that was my most important thing. If you go shopping for a low-end, not very expensive couple of $100 tablet, you'll go into these stores, like Walmart, for example, when I was there, they had Samsung tablets that were still rocking Kit Kat.
Yeah.
And it was now with Kit Kat, and it's no, this is not a selling point.
Do we need to go to Walmart and hang out and make sure
people don't make the wrong purchase decisions?
People don't make.
Yes, I think we do.
Well, sometimes I do that. I'll be overhearing something that somebody will get advice, and I try to wait till the associate walks away because I don't want to be a total jerk.
Yeah.
And be like, "Excuse me, this person's wrong." But I try to walk in and say, you might want to consider this instead. And they go, "Well, how do you know so much?" I go, "It's my job."
Yeah. It's what I do. It's what I do. So there you go. All right, Flo, we have an email.
We do have an email. Thank you for reminding me. This is from Tyler. Thank you, Tyler, for writing us. Google Photos, motion photos, have been touted on the show many times. This is true by me. Google Photos works great for viewing/sharing motion photos taken on a Pixel, but does not support motion photos taken on a Samsung. Do you know if it will ever be possible to view Samsung motion photos in a Google Photos? Motion photos, quote unquote, should be a universal standard, like GIFs, but I have a feeling they aren't. So.
Oh, no.
So they're trapped in their respective Pixel/Galaxy/Apple ecosystem. Any friends of the show have enough clout to create a universal media type standard for this? Tyler asks.
That is
Please,
a
would
big,
someone
that
think
is
of
a
the
big
universal media
ask.
standards?
It's funny because this is another case of to his point, the warring companies, like with messaging. We rant about messaging service, but iMessage versus Allo versus SMS versus all stuff like that. iOS has their live photos, right? And Facebook is actually working to implement so those work in Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But why not Google Motion Photos? It's definitely there's a direction towards this idea of that concept, but the implementation has now become fractured. I'm absolutely with Tyler here. I wish we had a standard for it.
Yeah,
But we're not in the age of standards. We're in the age of proprietary.
Well, especially when like Apple, as the first example, comes out with this feature. Did Apple have it before Samsung? I don't even know who had it first.
Yep.
But probably the company who had it first wasn't thinking, we should probably create a standard so that everybody else can use this too. Like they were thinking, this is our market advantage.
This is marketing.
Yeah, this is our advantage, and heck no, nobody else is doing this.
Well, Tyler, the good news is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, friends, but I believe that eventually we'll be seeing this come to other Android devices, as we have seen some other Google Photos abilities coming. I mean, at least this is the hope, right?
Yeah, well, I wonder, because how much of that is part of Google's official
selling point
camera app that's doing that versus
that's also true, because it is using machine learning to pick up that part. Right. It's using machine learning to figure out when it should be bursting, when it should be taking the photo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's actually a great segue to our app section.
It is. Let's fire it up.
Let's do it.
Let's fire up the app section. Okay, there we go. Bottom time.
I like the idea of you pulling the cord on the app.
Are there chainsaws in this segment? Because
like an old lawnmower.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, lawnmower, not chainsaws. I went a little.
See, Florence, back in the day, lawnmowers ran on gasoline, and you had to pull them to start.
I know. My dad had one. He had a loud lawnmower.
What do they run on now?
I think aren't they electric now? Like everything else, is there a Dyson lawnmower that runs on air? I don't know.
Probably.
Anyway, so speaking of the Google Camera app, there's actually the good folks over XDA have posted there's a new camera mod up there that allows non-Google phones to not only install the Google Camera app from the new Pixel 2, but also use the portrait mode feature with the rear-facing camera. The front-facing camera support doesn't work. Root is not required, and they tested this with the Note 8, Moto G5 Plus, the OnePlus 3 and 3T, the Xiaomi Mi 5s, and they're all running Oreo. So begs the question. There's a lot of magic going on in that Google Camera app, and those motion photos are probably part of it. It's only a matter of time before the geniuses over on XDA port it over to other phones as well too. And this kind of steals away Google Pixel's special sauce, doesn't it?
I mean, if people are know that it exists through XDA,
I mean, portrait mode is a standard. It's a standard functionality now of all the flagships. You have to have a portrait mode, so it can't be the only. I mean, this is something that should be shared with other Android devices. Versus,
but through Google's
perspective.
Through what Google's been doing. Like when I first actually saw this, I was like, oh, cool, Google's rolling out the camera app to non-phones, and then I'm like, oh no, this is not actually sanctioned by Google. This isn't official. This is a XDA mod. But that's Google's. I mean, like we're seeing the Assistant get rolled out to non-Pixel devices. You gotta imagine sooner or later they're gonna roll out the camera app as well. This might be forcing their hand. I'll be curious to see what they do from this.
Yeah.
But if you want the portrait mode on a non-Pixel device, go to XDA. You can track it down. You can have it. So.
Yeah.
But see, this is why I think motion photos is coming to other Android devices, because it's something that's integrated into Google Photos in the web browser, so you can view them online, and other people can view them online, regardless or not of whatever platform they're on. I don't know.
It does feel a little bit like their secret sauce to a certain degree. It's certainly one of the things
the
that
secret
on the
is
Pixel,
machine learning, my friend.
Well, yeah, that's true. And I guess to that degree, Google always gains when more people are using that stuff.
Of course it does.
This is all done on the device versus in the cloud.
Yes.
So maybe less so in that regard. But But anyways, good engineering, reverse engineering by, who was it? It was Arnova 8G2 on XDA. Throughout the name there, because Arnova is the one that did all the hard work. So there you go. Arnova. If you want to, you can install that on your non-Google device and get software-based portrait mode like you can on the Pixels. Let's see here. Edward Snowden, this random guy, worked alongside the Guardian project to create a new Android app called Haven. Thought this sounded kind of interesting. It's meant to be installed on a spare Android device. So you would install Haven on a device you have laying around, a device you're not using on the regular, maybe keep it plugged in or whatever and running the app. What it does is it uses the phone's sensors to detect any changes in a room, and it logs everything that it notices. It can also send encrypted push updates to your phone, for example. So what is the use case? Probably not any of us, but if we have a laptop with lots of really valuable, important information, and we're worried that people are going to swoop in and steal that data.
10 years, 15 years from now, I could be on a case or something. Who knows? Maybe I decide to go full reporter once and for all.
Exactly.
Okay, and I'm going to need this, so thank you, Edward.
It could happen to you. So the idea being like, I think one of the examples they gave is like you check into a hotel and you leave your laptop in the safe or whatever, but you want to make absolutely positively sure that no one goes in there and is able to get in the laptop to like install a keylogger or something that would put your data at risk without you ever knowing that anything happened, right? You need some sort of a signal to know that something happened. And so you would put this device in the same area. It would detect and log or notify you the second anything in the environment changes while you're not there. And they may or may not even know that happened. But if they get in there and they unlock the safe, they're able to get to the laptop and make the change, you at least have a log on that extra device that's running Haven that says, actually, the light turned on in the room, or actually it bumped, or whatever.
I want this technology, sorry, Snowden, for consumers. I want this in an app so that, like, just so I could have it in a hotel room, so I know if somebody came into the room while I was gone. Like as you can go security, so that you don't have to carry like a security camera or something. And let's say you travel a lot, I don't know, or maybe like, wouldn't it be cool? Just I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, it's interesting.
So what is that? He used it on a 5X? Okay. All right.
Right. Yeah, if you got a phone lying around, it can be an extra kind of
look at that. He's got a little
security.
Christmas tree in the back. Okay. Keeping it festive.
Even Snowden likes the holidays. I'd throw this on my Nexus, Robin. I'd do that.
Yeah. And it's kind of like it'll take pictures when an activity happens, or it'll record sound in the room.
Can we talk about this?
Yeah, can we?
This microscope behind him.
Yeah, can we just pause on this video? Can we analyze Edward Snowden's desk, by the way? Right? Wow. Like not only is it a Christmas tree, it's a little stuffed plush Christmas tree character, right? It's got a face and arms and legs.
You got to be festive anyway.
Oh my gosh, it is a character.
Look at that. Yeah.
It has legs.
And the microscope is great. Well, we can't tell his head is blocking what's in that frame next to him, though.
I bet you it's a picture of his ballerina.
Also, his desktop is very high up, unless he's leaning over into the camera.
I think that's an IKEA desk. I see the particle board.
Is it a standing desk or something? It's very strange.
I just never thought we would analyze Edward Snowden's desk.
Wait, pause.
Right there. It's a framed board.
It's a framed motherboard.
Of
course it is.
What is that?
Of course.
Right there. What is on there? Can we enhance?
Somebody needs to enhance this. And
that is a motherboard. What is that? That is such an odd shape.
Is it a Raspberry Pi?
We could go in.
It's not a Raspberry Pi because he's got ports up in the upper right, and it's got that weird curve on the left that goes into that cable.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a security modem.
I don't know.
Just making stuff up.
What is that board? That's so bizarre.
Crack
Why is
the case, whatever the case is.
I do like the soldering gun is just sitting right there, or soldering iron rod.
You need the soldering gun to solder. Why would he frame that board? That's so weird.
It's an important board to Edward Snowden. It means something.
Edward Snowden's Room is my new favorite YouTube channel.
What can we learn about this guy that no one else has learned about him? And if you want to check out his handiwork, Probably, I'm not sure if any of that equipment that we just analyzed was used in the making of Haven.
Don't shatter the magic, Jason. He used the soldering iron. He used all of it to make this app.
Haven wouldn't even exist without that framed picture or that framed motherboard.
Or that Christmas tree with arms and legs just hanging there.
Good. I'm happy we focused on the really important stuff on that story. All right. And finally, Flo, I figured you probably heard of this, right?
Yes, I have, because everybody keeps talking about it. And apparently you could win money.
Yeah.
Which is like, hello, why is this not for me? Because I'm all about winning money. HQ Trivia, the hit trivia game app that launched on iOS last fall, which is true because everybody on iOS won't stop talking about it. It's now on Android in beta form, so you can check it in the Google Play Early Access section to see if you will get access to that. And it's a live trivia contest, essentially. There's games every day at 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
So that would be right now? Would it be?
Oh.
No, I missed it.
Yeah, you have to answer 12 multiple choice questions to win cash prizes, and it's up to thousands of dollars. Everybody tweets about this every Sunday. For some reason, Sunday is a day that people have been tweeting about it. It's just on Sunday, I see everybody going, oh, we played the trivia show. Maybe people made it a thing in their house. I don't know. But you can win money. And I know my pal Gary Widow won like $12. It said in his family holiday email.
I find this to be fascinating that this is from the Vine creators. Like their second act was this app.
Oh, this is from the Vine creators.
Yes, it's from Russ Yusupov and Colin Kroll, who created Vine.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
being tied to the time of day. I don't know how that works for me. Having to go in there tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific.
It's hard to live your life.
No. It's not hard, because when you have Animal Crossing Pocket Camp and you need to go make sure that those animals are visiting your camp, you're already on your phone anyway.
Or if you're like Jason and the rest of us, and you have a job at noon
from home.
Noon, I'm in a meeting. So excuse me. I need to play Trivia HQ and then Animal Crossing and then some other games.
Listen, it's called breaks.
In Silicon Valley, people would probably understand that. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, HQ, I do too." HQ Trivia.
Yeah, in Silicon Valley, they'd be. I've heard some stories about Silicon Valley meeting rooms. It's very possible everybody's like, HQ Trivia break.
Yeah,
like that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Probably so.
So.
Anyways,
if you need to make some quick money,
okay,
go answer some questions. It's the equivalent of the Google rewards, the Google survey rewards, except you play against people, right?
Gosh, and you split the winnings if you win all the multiple choice. Anyways, I don't know. I don't even know if it's a great game. I just know everybody's talking about it, so I'm gonna have to play.
Everybody. Well, and iOS first.
Yeah. Talk to Ron about that.
Don't get me started on that. I was ignoring that on purpose because I didn't want to rant on it.
Yeah,
why would you turn it off? But whatever, it's fine. They finally came to it. Now it's available, so it's fine.
They got there.
The gap between it coming out and going to Android wasn't that long. It was like.
I'll let you guys know if I win any money. All right, and I'll use the money to buy Oreos.
Okay, if any one of us three wins a lot of money on this, can we at least agree that we're sharing it?
Sure, I will give you a third of my zero because I haven't even installed this. So all yours, Jason.
All right, good. Okay, I'll share some money with you guys. Buy some Oreos for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, it's I think it's that time of the episode where we check out the arena.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
And this is an important check-in.
This is a very important check-in.
If we remember, at the end of last season, it was a cliffhanger to rival all cliffhangers. The previous ballot had been hacked. It had been gamed and had to be disregarded.
Where's Edward Snowden when you need him?
I know. We needed Haven a long time ago, but we didn't have it. So it all came down to this last vote. And we moved it to Google Plus into a system that could potentially not be hacked. I don't think you can really hack the polls on Google Plus.
I certainly hope not.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anyway.
Anything's possible. But twit.to/AAA vote 348 reveals
There you go. There it is.
Florence
so
Ion, winner with Reigns 2. 45%.
Winner of the poll and the year.
Nice. So, Flo, you...
I feel so smiley.
I know.
What a great way to start the new year.
You're the winner. Reigns 2 wins with 45% of the vote. Cake Browser and Day One were tied for second. It's hard to know what the exact vote count on that was. Maybe I have to click vote. I don't know. It's not showing me. Anyways, with 21% and clap to find my phone. Let's just say I'm not surprised. 13% last place on that one. Do we have Wade County?
I don't see Wade County in the chat room. And surprisingly, Bleak isn't there either, so it's all very strange.
What's going on in 2018?
So we don't have the actual numbers, but I'm sure the fine folks and the awesome folks who update the wiki will get it updated. But we can confirm that gives Flo the win for the year, making her the 2017 champion. She takes the championship away from the guests who had won in 2016. And just for historical sake, 2015 Jason won. 2014 I won. 2013 Gina won.
Wow.
2012 Jason won, and 2011 Eileen won. So Jason is the only 2-time yearly winner, but up to this point we've all won at least once. So I love it.
Good. I like where we're standing.
I present to you the prize for winning an extra cookie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There you go. A Cadbury cookie.
Sit it right there.
I have to bring the other one home to my husband.
Okay.
Try to
and
share
make sure you tune in to the end of the show to hear what Flo and Jason thought of that cookie.
Yes.
But so before we talk about this next season of the arena, we've got some interesting stats that came up from Tony Morrow on Twitter.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tony Morrow, aka A Gizmo on Twitter.
Who's awesome.
Yeah. And said, fun AAA arena stats. Number 1, That Flo missed 6 episodes versus Jason and Ronix only missing 4. That could make her win even more impressive with this new polling kind of approach. Number 2, he says, I feel the new point system made it harder for guests this year because they missed 10 episodes.
Yeah.
That's 4 to 20 points lost. And that wasn't.
But
what, Ron?
I was gonna say yes, but even if they're not on the show, they can't win anyway. So it's a wash. Like even if we had the previous system, they would still be discouraged because if you're not here, you can't win.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
well, and I guess what I was going to say about that is like not having guests on the show. Like we definitely had more episodes through 2017 where it was just kind of the 3 of us, but that's just because we enjoy doing shows where it's just the 3 of us. We're kind of doing that right now. So it's just, I guess that's the way it goes.
It's just the way the cookie crumbles, the Oreo cookie
That's
crumbles.
the way the Oreo cookie crumbles.
Yes.
Thanks to Burke, we finally have what looks like toilet paper, but I promise you it's not.
It's not toilet paper. Do I wear this on my head?
It is a trophy, sure.
Nice.
There we go. It is your trophy. You are required.
There you go.
And appararily this
That's a
never
lot of
ends.
toilet paper. That's a lot of toilet paper.
I'm not sure what it is. It's
not
like foam
recyclable
or something.
I don't think.
This
What?
is bad. This is bad.
Fell,
Bad for the
trophy
earth,
fell.
this right here. We'll go ahead and
Well,
set
it's
it
because
right
you're
here.
not supposed to throw it away. It's a trophy.
Yeah.
It's supposed
While
to
you guys
forever.
figure that out, I will call out the fact that I love, and I don't know if this is Tony or someone else in the wiki, but I love that on the win stats page on the wiki, it does denote that Arena 347 was dismissed due to poll quote unquote shenanigans. So
Good.
I love
very
our-
politically correct. I love it.
I love our community. You guys are
I do
amazing.
too.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
I
so
completely
before
agree.
we get into this arena, and I'm gonna remind it when we go to vote as well too. Please, please, please respect the arena. And in this year, 2018, respect the fact that it is about the 3 of us looking for apps that we think are interesting, that we think you will find interesting, and voting on the merit of the app. Over the past 2 years, we've seen the emergence of the arena used to be a popularity contest, to play favorites, to hurt people we don't like. That is not why we're here. That is not the spirit of what we do. So I'm really hoping in 2018 we rise above and we be the awesome community that we've been for 350 episodes. And let's just keep it to the apps. Don't worry about who the person is. Just vote on the merit of the app. That's all I ask.
And having said all of that, it's very funny that everything seems to come full circle because at least for now, we're sticking with Google Plus because we know we can trust it. So this time last year,
what if
we
Google
transitioned
was the
away.
reason?
Now we're right.
What if Google was like, we need them back. We need to do something.
What could we do to get them back? Shenanigans.
They have that power.
We'll do shenanigans. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
All right. So
Say
this being the first
shenanigans one
episode
more
of the year, 3 times and then it appears. All right. I'm going to review my app first because I lost last year and last episode. If you like reading stories or maybe you like writing stories, really this app is going to apply to you. Do you like writing stories?
Hello.
Hello?
How do you think I pay my bills?
Well, like fiction. Like stories with chapters.
Yeah, I used to write Sailor Moon Star Wars fan fiction, but that's for another day.
There we go. That's an example.
Florence. Oh, Flo.
Oh, that Flo. All right, so my app is called Inkit, INKITT, and it is a service that basically it's kind of a number of things. If you are an author, if you are a someone who likes to write stories, but you're not published anywhere, let's say, and you want a platform to publish your stories so that others can find them, Inkit can be that. It's the world's first, they call this, first reader-powered book publisher, because up-and-coming authors can post their works here, get supported through the service for things like editing, ideas, plot development. I'm just going to tap into one in the popular in fantasy section. And also, Inkit potentially offers publishing deals to the books that perform really well in the app. They monitor how people engage with the content, how, if someone stays up all night to read start to finish, and a lot of people do that, they know how that's happening in the app, and then that might be what makes them decide, hey, we want to give them a book deal. We want to be able to push this in hardcover on Amazon, whatever. It's a platform for you as an author to share your stories and basically get a community around that, and
like a fan fiction community.
I'm not sure if there's fan fiction in here, but I would be really surprised if there isn't.
I would, yeah. That's
as a user, as a reader, you can come in here and you can find these stories. You can customize how it looks entirely. If you like a black backdrop, or you want it to be more of kind of this yellowish backdrop, maybe that's easier on your eyes. You can customize that. You can leave comments. You can review it when you're all done, add a review so that other people that are looking for the story might find that and decide that they want to add it to their own lists for reading. And yeah, when you start it up for the first time, you pick a number of sections that you like, and they have, content. They have stories in all different types. I think I picked science fiction, horror, and fantasy, but they have all sorts of other types, as well as a little trending stories section down here.
You read horror?
To be honest, I don't really read fiction, but I appreciate communities like this for people who are creative and who do this. I have massive amounts of respect for people who have the ability to write a story from the ground up and make it something that's interesting that somebody else wants to spend their time reading. I've just never been able to do that, so I respect it immensely. But it's a cool place to go. They make it a very visual experience in finding stuff that might appeal to you, and you can go ahead in there and add it to your list and save it for offline reading or whatever you want to do. Download. I'll go ahead and download that and add it to my library. And there you go. It's called Inkit. And it's just kind of a cool social, it's kind of a social network, but it's also just a platform for sharing and reading and finding independently written fiction. And it's all free. Inkit, INKITT. Check it out for yourself.
Inkit.
If you can think it, you can ink it.
You can ink it. We just gave them their slogan.
Yes. If you can think it, you should ink it.
Jason will be taking his royalties at Jason at twit.tv.
I'm not free. The service might be free. I'm not free. Okay. Let's see here. So, Ron, you are up next. And
all right,
I
excellent.
think I have your app installed. Yes, I do.
I hope so. All right, cool. So my app is a nice little reminder app that helps you with productivity. As everyone knows, I'm very productivity minded, and as I'm getting older, you tend to forget things, and so you need things to remind you. I've got to-do list apps, I've got other apps, things like that, things that can set alarms, all this sort of stuff. But I like this app called Remindy because it adds the reminder task function in the share flow of any app. So you can create a reminder within any app. So there, when you load up Remindy, you see nothing because you haven't done anything. Okay. So for example, let's just go to Twitter or go to Inkit or and there, when you hit the share button in the app, you see there's a remind me button with a little alarm, and you get a little dialog window above what you're doing, and you can type a title and you can add a note. So in this particular case, I can say read this is the title, and then the note I could say make sure you read this book later. And then you could choose when you want the notification to show up. So it could be today, tomorrow. You can set the date and you can set the time. And then it will set a reminder that will go off in your notification pane, reminding you of this thing that you set to remind, but then takes you back to the app that you were using. So it's great for when you're, if you're commuting, you see an article you want to read later, or you see like a YouTube video you want to watch later, or like any sort of thing. I can't tell you the number of times I see things on my phone and I'm like, oh, I want to do this later, and I forget about it. This is a great way to solve for that, because it's contextually putting it in the share flow that exists in any app, which is kind of genius when you think about it, right? Mm-hmm. So here we are. For those watching the video, Jason has opened up the app, and you can see the list of his reminders, and there's the link to Inkit that he just put in, and when the reminder is supposed to be in, and there it is. And so once you get reminded of something, it can be archived, so you can save it and keep track of all your archives. And there we're seeing it there. And all in all, that's pretty much it. Pretty simple. I think it's pretty genius to put the reminder function in the share window, in the share pane. I think that's really smart. So so there it is. Remindy. Remind with 2 E's at the end. Free in the Google Play Store. Don't forget things. Remember anything from any app. Ever. So that's what I think is amazing. Literally any app that has a share button, you can create a reminder for it. So in the history of your life, remember every single thing ever. Very handy. All right, excellent. Remindy, free in the Play Store. All right, Flo, you're up next. You got to follow your
Ron's app was a good app.
Win.
I just downloaded it.
This is great.
Full disclosure. I don't know if you guys have been tuning into Humble Bundle lately, but the last couple of weeks, they've had some really amazing bundles. And I, of course, dropped all the cash for the Riverdale bundle, the Archie and Riverdale bundle that they had a couple weeks ago. But that's when I realized I don't have an actual comics reader on my tablet, which is, whoa, Flo, what are you doing there? So I kind of went to go find something that is nice. So I found this app called Comic Screen. Comic Screen it's a nice free comic viewing app. What it does is it just links you directly into your directory on your Android device. So what I do is, because everything is through Humble Bundle, they send you a link, you download it, and then what I do is I put it into my Dropbox, and then I download it onto my devices. It's always around. The nice thing about this app is that it's super easy to just load CBZ files. You can load the zip files. You don't have to worry about it. I feel like I'm giving away the content. But I just really like it because it's just super easy to use. It's super easy to just zoom and read. I don't have to zoom too much. If, let's say, maybe you're eating a sandwich and reading comics, it's very hard to, do that at the same time. I like the fact that, yes, it's free. It has a little ad on the bottom, but it's not that annoying. I like that if maybe I want to view things double pages and see the way that things were drawn and the way that things were laid out. I'm trying to think of
killing me, Flo. Killing me.
I don't know what the terminology is because I don't want Ron to kill me.
Double page spreads.
Thank you. It's called a double page spread, by the way. Which I guess is the same in publishing. You can also crop, which is really neat. So let's say you like a panel, you think, oh, look at Jughead and Archie, they're friends. Okay, I'm gonna crop that and make a little meme out of it if I wanted to. Erase a little bubble, put in your own little speech. Anyway. It also has a little button that just instantly moves the screen for you if you don't want to actually set that up in your notification shade. Brightness. It's just an all-around like super easy to use. Super easy to use. And everything's available right there. Comic screen. Jason's eating, by the way, next to me.
I got so enraptured by the review, I had to turn the microphone away and eat.
It's because
Oreos.
I feel bad that I don't know how to like describe the comic reading process. But I found this app to be very helpful.
Ron, is there anything you would like to add as a comic book guy?
Nope. I'll let Flo just out there on her own.
Anyway, I like it. And yes, I am reading through the Riverdale comics, which is what the show was based off of.
And it's important. It should know that this app, you need the files for the app. So, for example, you either need to own them through Humble Bundle, like Flo mentioned, she purchased them, or there are lots of comics that are available
legally
obtained
obtained
in the public domain, older comics, things like that. If you're into more current books from Marvel and DC and other publishers like that, they all go through their proprietary apps or Comixology or Amazon or whatever. Those won't work on that app because you don't actually, they're the DRM and all that stuff. So,
Thank you,
so
Rob.
just a little disclaimer there for you from the comic nerd.
I get a lot of the Humble Bundle bundles.
Yeah, it's
They're
cool.
great.
Humble's
It's a great way to just get like a bunch of stuff. They had a Batman bundle like years ago, and I bought all that. And so,
Fun fact, I produced the first Humble Bundle with comics ever.
Oh.
So there you go. When I worked at Image Comics, they were the first publisher to do it, and that was a deal I did.
Remember that?
I think we talked about that on the show
So
at the time.
the whole Humble Bundle selling comics was.
And because of you, Ron, I can now read through the Riverdale series, so I can understand this complicated relationship between Betty and Archie.
Exactly. No, and not just me. I brokered the deal, but a lot of people came together to do it and all that stuff. But it's very cool because I love the Humble Bundle model, and I love that comics have become a part of it. So that's very, very cool. So
yeah, I mean, Humble Bundle used to have a lot of presence on the show. We used to talk about it a lot.
And this is another way for me to bring it on the show because I just wanted to mention they had really good bundles lately.
Yeah.
So tune in, and if you need a reader.
Here you
Download
go.
Comic Screen. It's
Comic
free.
Screen.
The ads aren't intrusive, and there's a lot of really helpful features. And it easily reads PDFs, CBZ files. Sometimes I use those apps just to read like horoscope books. Sorry to everyone out there.
Don't we all? Horoscope books. It's true. It's not true.
They're free online.
So you can place your vote for the first arena of the year of 2018.
Yes, of 2018.
It's a monumental moment.
A beautiful new year.
Mm-hmm. Yes, beautiful so far. Twit.to/AAA poll 350. Twit.to/AAA poll 350. If you want to place your vote, you can for Ink It, Remindee, or Comic Screen. Place your vote, your first vote of the year. We'll check in on it next week. Of course, we're watching Victor hover.
Who's Victor going to vote for?
Victor's
It's
hovering.
like the groundhog.
Comic Screen.
Victor likes comics.
Comic Screen.
Groundhog.
Although, in all fairness, Ron, your app is so good, I downloaded it already. So
It's a pretty good app. Remindee.
They can all be good.
Hey, set a reminder to install Remindee.
How would you do it if you didn't
I was trying
have
to figure out a
Remindee?
way to do that so that I
Oh,
could
wait a
involve
minute.
everybody,
Yeah.
But mostly
Listen.
because that Mark Waid Archie comic you showed, Flo, that's a really good series.
Yep.
Not that
Archie-
I've read it or anything, but it's really good.
The latest Archie stuff is very, very good. They've been having the past couple of years of Archie have been a lot of fun. So.
All right, so place your vote, twit.to/AAA poll 350. And that, as they say, is that the first episode of the new year, episode 350. It's a lot of fun. Here's
51 more shows to go.
Yeah, here's to a whole new year of All About Android. Happy to have y'all along with us.
A whole new year.
We will reach episode 400 before the end of the year.
Wow.
We got to plan something.
I wonder who will join us on that episode.
Perhaps a
Who
friend of the
might
show
stop by.
from some
You just never
place
know.
called Google.
You
Someone?
just never know.
Call me.
Hiroshi.
Call Jason, actually.
Okay. So that's it, Ron. Any final parting words of wisdom that have to do with you?
Just great to be here. Thankful for All About Android. Ready for another year, 2018. Can't wait. Thankful I'm not going to CES.
Yeah.
Life is good. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RonXO. If you like nerd stuff, you can go to ifanboy.com. I talked about Star Wars The Last Jedi at the end of the year, so you can go back and download that because we're all nerds. And yeah, that's it. Just really excited for 2018.
I saw Last Jedi over the holiday break. Here's my review.
What'd you think?
I liked it.
Yeah,
I thought it was good.
My review was a wavering thumbs up. It was my issues with it weren't Star Wars lore based, rather just filmmaking based.
Fair.
Gotcha.
Fair.
The movie was too long. Whole bunch of stuff I would have cut.
It was too long. I will totally.
I think I like some of the concepts Rian Johnson laid down. I think he bit off more than he could chew.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting.
Try drinking a cherry Coke at the beginning of that movie at 10:30 p.m. the night it opens.
You need the app called Run Pee.
No, I'm not during Star Wars.
Oh.
You never leave the first viewing of Star Wars.
That's true. It's true.
You hold it in. You suffer.
My 7-year-old daughter encountered that exactly, and she was a trooper. She held out to the end.
You just gotta hold it.
What about you, Flo?
Well, I'm gonna probably be doing a lot of running around next week in Las Vegas, Nevada. So that's where I will be. So follow me on social media to see all the CES craziness. I'm just going to be commenting about my life in a tech den for the next 8 days, beginning Saturday. So join me because the content will be great. If you're interested in what I've been writing, I actually just wrote a little retrospective on Google Assistant. You can read that at Android Authority. Just went up today. And I've got other stuff in the pipelines coming out. So just kind of hang out, FlorenceIon.com. I'll be updating
Wait, Flo, did you write that retrospective on the Google Assistant? No. Oh no, you wrote it about Google Assistant.
I wrote it about Google Assistant.
I thought you wrote it on, I was like, can you write an article on Google Assistant? Did you dictate it?
I was thinking if I could dictate something.
Right, yeah.
It's a feature for another time.
Either way, stock up, load up on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, because I'll be all over it next week in Vegas.
Yeah,
I need everyone.
Protect yourself while you're there. Don't get the con flu.
Hey, by the way, Flo, good job on your website. I see that you actually got it working.
I did, but no CMS yet. But that's okay because there's other things I'm thinking about.
Is this all hard coded? Is this hard coded?
Yes.
Oh, Flo, there's so much. Like, it's 2018.
Know,
it's 2018.
But I haven't done any web design since the mid-aughts. Okay.
Not only have we figured this out, but we've figured this out in 9 different ways to do it.
Okay, I took a bootstrap layout.
Including
I went into a text
of the
editor.
Network WordPress. Right? Come on.
There are easier ways.
I'm just paying for the domain and the server space. Okay. I'm a freelancer.
Oh. Wow.
Okay. I don't have a 401k. Okay.
You don't need a 401k.
All right. You two will connect. And Ron, you will help Flo with her web design.
I'm glad you see the Ron Flo sibling.
I'm not volunteering. I'm just criticizing.
I know, which I'm just like, if you're not volunteering, then let me do it my own way. Hard code it.
We'll see the changes that you bring to the website now.
At least I can hard code it, okay?
Thank you, Flo. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Victor. And once again, I just have to apologize because, Victor, I know that the best of was not easy. This is probably the last best of that will be in that style because I feel really, really bad because it was a lot of work for Victor. And I realized that
we should mark
after
it.
It was too late.
We should mark it at the end of the show. If we go, okay, gang, that was a good show. We were feeling good. Then we should put a color in the doc that we can refer to at the end of the year.
Like this was what do you mean?
We should highlight a portion. We could talk about this after the show.
We've got lots of stuff to talk about.
We do. We need to have a meeting.
Anyways, thank you, Victor. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all your hard work with that. And it's great having you on board for 2018. For me, you can find me at yellowgoldmusic.com, jasonhowell.net. They both point to the same place, which is yellowgoldmusic.com. And that's really about it. Nothing new to report. For this show, if you want to get involved, you can leave us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA. You can send us emails to AAA@twit.tv. Find us on Twitter. We are at Android Show. Arena apps list. You can find all the apps that we've had in the arena, and that's all done by the community. Thank you, community, for doing this. twit.to/Android apps. You can find our show notes and past episodes at twit.tv/AAA. And if you want to come and watch us live, you are more than welcome to do that. Just let us know first. Tickets at twit.tv, and you can sit in the audience and catch a little All About Android in person. And if the stream is just more your speed, that's fine too. twit.tv/live every Tuesday starting around 5 p.m. Pacific. And I think that's all we got. That's it for this episode of All About Android. We'll see you next week on another episode. Have a great week. See you guys. Bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bonus content.
Yeah, this has been so 2018. We're doing things a little different, and that means
We're gonna have the snack before the show.
we're gonna snack before the show, because
okay.
what that means is if you're watching the released version of the podcast, we can put this at the end, because we know some of you like this and some of you really don't like this. But by this I mean us eating into the microphone. This I think everyone likes, and that is this week's Oreo flavor is Cadbury Oreo. We've had a Cadbury flavor on the show in the past, but never quite like this. It's never been a Cadbury coated Oreo cookie as it is now. And I got to say, I can't remember when or where I got this box. It looks a little traveled.
It looks like it came from Canada.
That is definitely not American. That's for sure.
Is it though? I mean, I don't know. Australia biscuits. That's
so
right.
There it is.
You know who sent this to me? This was, this was Osdroid, folks.
Oh.
This was straight from Osdroid.
Very cool.
This is Australia. All right, so this is Cadbury coated, Cadbury Oreo cookies. We'll go ahead and open it. That's why it's all.
See that Cadbury Oreo partnership. Oh, look at that in a nice little 2 Oreo pack set. That's really nice.
Give you your own pack.
Thank you.
You can open up your own pack.
Oh,
yeah,
this
you're welcome.
is so nice. Look,
everybody that's in here in the studio watching is like, oh, dang it, that's one less Oreo package. We'll go ahead and open it up. Oh, see.
Oh, look at that. You see, the Cadbury is a special thing.
Wow. I like the evenly distributed ratio of Cadbury chocolate.
It's very creamily poured over the top of the Oreo cookie. All right. So should we do this? All right, off mic.
Sorry.
All right, so while they chew into it, while they bite into their Cadbury Oreo, I'll mention we wanted to keep doing it mainly to keep the page on the Twit Wiki alive with their ratings. So that's one of the main reasons why 2018 and we're still doing Oreo tasting. That said, you guys have chewed it. What do you think?
I think that's pretty darn delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just like in general the Cadbury Oreo combination that we've done in the past. And this one,
it's a good combo. It's a great Cadbury combo. with anything is great. So
you guys, I have one in here.
I believe it was Duncan Jaffrey who sent this in a few months ago, and I told him that I would hold on to it because we're entering the holidays. And dang, that's a pretty good flavor.
So really Flo, thoughts really good. All right, so what are your guys' ratings? Ratings.
9. It's it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's hard to go lower than a 9. I would give it a 9. I think that makes a whole lot of sense for this one in particular.
All right, so it's an extra bit of added speciality to an already great Oreo.
Oh,
so
it is very crisp.
According to the ratings at twit.to/Oreo, to the history, that makes it tied for the highest rated Oreo ever, tied with chocolate cream, which Jason, you gave a 9, and Flo, you actually gave a 9.5.
Yeah, that's right. That was really yummy.
Yeah.
Well, and I believe Gina Trapani was on the last live episode last year, and she gave the standard Oreo a 10. So that would be the top.
Yeah, no,
rated.
I discounted that because I feel like that's the standard Oreo. It's not the special thing or whatever. Although I am curious that no special Oreo has reached a 10 yet, is as good as the original.
It's hard to top the best, right? It's hard to top the original.
Exactly.
I would say.
Exactly.
Yep. And Pack NW puts into words in the chat room pretty much the reason that we moved this to post-show content by saying, "Ew, that sounds gross."
Yep.
It does.
There you go.
Pack NW.
It does.